So today's podcast is going to be speaking with Bruce and all things that relate to CLL, such as his own personal story as a veteran diagnosed with CLL and how CLL Society offered him support at a time when research and resources weren't as readily available as they are today. What a journey you're living through, Bruce, and welcome to the show again.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you. I enjoy this kind of dialogue and getting the word out to other veterans. It's most important. It's one of my goals, and pushing it forward and helping people as I go on with life.
Sure. It's also fair to say that you're 79 years old.
In January 5th.
In January 5th.
As the little kids on the block say, we're the oldest couple on the block. They always quote the half year. So you do that when you're young and when you're old.
Yeah, right. And so when you joined the military, how old were you?
When I joined the military, I was 18 years old, and I graduated from high school, and my grades weren't all that good. I was upstate New York, very small, farm-oriented, countryside, south of Syracuse, New York, and didn't know much about the military, and took an extra year after high school to get ready for college. Things like college boards, I didn't know anything about. I was too busy playing football and wrestling. And then through that avenue, I was able to pick up an appointment to the Naval Academy and did swear into the Naval Academy in 1963. Yeah, and entered in peace and graduated in war. And was fortunate during the first summer, President Kennedy came out to talk to us. Most impressive, motivational man. We lost him a couple months later. I marched in his cortege procession as he was going to be interred. So he made quite an impression on us young people to this day.
To this day, core memory for you. And I mean, just probably helped inspire you. General or Admiral McRaven, I believe, said, make your bed every day during a commencement speech recently. It's trended all over the internet. And even though I wasn't at that ceremony, that is something that was powerful that just can sit with you. And I can only imagine having, JFK, the president.
Yes.
Ich bin ein Berliner. Yes. Standing right there, a donut. Okay. Yep. The man himself.
Yep. And
wow.
Regarding Admiral McRaven, I've met him, know him. He gave a eulogy at a classmate of mine's, a fellow SEAL who passed away, a SEAL who I introduced him to his wife. And I was in his wedding, holding up a sword, and stayed with him throughout the life. They lived down in Coronado, south in San Diego. I live up in Orange County near Mission Viejo. And so we saw each other on a social basis as well throughout his entire life.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Again, I literally make my bed, not just for me to come lay down in it, but so when my wife comes home from a hard day of work, she's like, oh, I should put her feet up too.
Yeah.
There's something about that.
Oh, sure.
Well, that's very, very small world in that life. Now in the Navy in 63, you enlisted as, so many other young men did, including my father joined the Navy at 17 and went in around 68, 69.
Mm-hmm.
You see, on a frigate as a radio guy. So he was a Morse code, all, and then that translated to his Green Beret-ness when he crossed over and became a radio guy in the SF teams. But
well, your dad started out in a good service because my first tour of duty was on a destroyer. And I would often stand the watch underway, and the guy I stood it with was the communications officer. And so I always had an insight into the messages coming and going.
It's like your internet right there. He's your internet. He's like, hey, what's the weather? He's like, well, sir, this just came in. He's like, update me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. No. And also my dad was, susceptible to, or got Agent Orange.
Well, it's a club nobody wants to be in.
No.
And I'd say to him, welcome home, brother. And we didn't get a good welcome. And we came home with a secret inside of us, which took decades. It takes decades with most veterans to manifest itself in various forms.
It does. And it did. It started to manifest. He had like a lot of different complications that was attributed to, being exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam and, from like scleroderma, tightening of the internal organs to like all sorts of just crazy stuff that just happened, the skin cancer that he had to have his like some things removed off of his cheeks and his nose and, that starts to come at him. And, and then my mom, is the caregiver, right? And we love her and rest her soul. So she's wheeling him all the time at the VA, breaking her back, pushing him around as he's gotten bigger and can't get much more, can't be running marathons no more. So he starts to take on all these, bro, I've seen it, firsthand, which is why I was so excited to have you come on and talk about CLL and get this out there about Agent Orange and our veterans who are still dealing with it. It's out there.
But by the way, what I tell anyone I cross with for this discussion, you can never call me too much, text me too much, or email me too much if you want to talk more about it or learn more about it or want to have continuing conversation regarding it. It's a constantly changing scenario for this type of cancer. And we're fortunate with that because the medicines keep getting better and better. And we benefit from that. When I was diagnosed with it, when I checked with Dr. Google, which is what the VA doctor said when I said, "What is CLL?" And he said, "Google it."
Right.
That's all I got.
Go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. And Dr. Google said I had 5 years. And so
there's a rabbit hole.
2014, but you're talking to me today. Look at that.
So you're rated, right? You have a rating to get out of the military. Did you have to fight? My dad had to get from like 60% to 100%. He had to keep going through like an MEB, to say that Agent Orange was attributed to that he had the Agent Orange. Let's talk about that. Like just getting it, and let me just backtrack real quick. Agent Orange is a chemical that was sprayed onto canopies over Vietnam and in other foliage to try to kill the foliage so that we could see through the foliage to the ground per se, and like get rid of all these canopies that Mother Nature has created. Mm-hmm. Okay. In the meantime, there's like old footage of guys in black and white film, and they're like spraying just hoses of it from the vehicle, like a water vehicle, like a, water buffalo full of it, just spraying it, like killing the, 100 yards out from their kill zone, just drenched in it. There was so much ignorance at that particular time. The guy running the Navy was a guy named Admiral Zumwalt, Elmo Zumwalt, and his son was involved with the riverine forces, was sprayed with it and got cancer real quickly from it and died very prematurely from it. And it was Zumwalt that authorized the use of it. And so think of that. You think about I authorized something that took my son's life way too early. It's like, take my son, sir. Here you go. It's like Abraham was going to do that, I think, somewhere in a Bible. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and he didn't even do it.
That comes forward to today's conflicts you're seeing every day on TV. The two different sons of Abraham.
I know. I'm telling you, man. It's like, holy cow, take mine. That's it. It's like, holy cow.
I talk about your dad's skin cancer. I've had 21 Mohs surgeries. Those are surgeries where they go in and take the skin cancer off and keep taking skin until they have a clear field. I've had 21 of them. My nose has been rebuilt twice. My ear has been rebuilt once. And that's a definite side effect of having CLL. CLL is a blood cancer, and it causes us to be immune suppressed. And you're sitting there right now growing skin cancers, but your body's immunity is strong enough that it comes up and it goes away. You just keep fighting it because your immune system's in balance. Ours is not. And so we have no way to fight it. So when it comes into us, it gets a foothold and we have to cut it out or burn it out. Won't stop.
It just keeps moving through everything. So it has to be cut out because whereas like cancer spreads, tumors, some people might think is cancer. It could be a cancerous tumor, but the tumor is more of like a hard ball inside of you that just moves around your organs. Yeah. Whereas like my understanding of cancer is it just goes through it like, Madam Mim in, some kind of wicked spell of Sword in the Stone from Disney. Mim, yeah. I'm a flu-like symptom.
Yeah.
I'm in you now.
And it's very insidious in how it gets to that. My wife had her thyroid out and she had several polyps, but the very smart endocrinologist that took care of her said 2 of those polyps are developing a blood source. The cancer was commanding the body to develop a source of blood that got to the cancer so that the cancer cells could dump themselves into the bloodstream to go invade the rest of the body.
Yeah.
They had the thyroid and polyps taken out before that happened, but that's what it's doing, and you don't even know what's going on. Scary. Man,
I've had my own scare with polyps. I had to go get, so my dad was, he had colon, like he had that going on with him too,
Right.
So much, dude. It's such a sad thing for me to think about. But so I went to the doctor at 40 and I said, hey, I want to get a colonoscopy because I'm predisposed to it, and she's like, you're young. And I was like, well, I thought I was supposed to get it at 40. Everybody's always like, get checked at 40. And she's like, oh, nowadays it's 50, but you're predisposed. So let's get you checked. So here I go, getting it done. And they get me out of the room and they told me that I had 3.5 polyps that they removed outside of my, inside of my colon. I was just literally a day over 40.
Yeah. And you didn't know about it at all.
No. And I just was like, I took the initiative to go get the oil changed, sir. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to go take myself with my insurance and get my filters changed and my oil changed and do these processes and maybe change the alternator like we do on our vehicles to get to work while we're dealing with these ailments. But yet, why do people struggle to go to get themselves checked out? What is it that we need to tell these people to go? It's okay to go to the doctor, right?
Yeah. And be on a dialogue with a doctor. Talk at an equal level. He's no smarter than you. He puts his pants on one leg at a time. And you get one that has a good dialogue with you. We tell you through the CLL Society, if you're not getting the information and the questions answered to your satisfaction, fire your doctor and get another one. Mm-hmm. Don't stick with this guy for some false loyalty. He's not doing you any good.
What about our veterans that are dealing with the VA where you can't necessarily move around too much with that? You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
What do you suggest? Is there some services for our veterans to go to the VA and just start this process? Do they reach to a CLL Society? Is that?
You're asking a 2-pronged question. The first part with the VA, remember VAs are teaching hospitals. The doctor who did the determination, I went in for a regular exposure to Agent Orange, joining the registry, which got a touchy-feely, an x-ray, and a blood draw. And out of that, they told me I had 2 cancers. So fast forward, my first disability findings were 100%. I was 200% disabled. Okay.
Right off the bat. Yeah.
But it took a while to get that because after I filled all those forms and stuff with the VA, they said they couldn't find them. And I said, wait a minute, this was done at the VA. It's all in the VA medical record. What do you mean you can't find it? I didn't do it with a private doctor. I did it with the VA. Well, we don't see it. Therefore, we're going to disapprove your request for Agent Orange exposure. No, you're not. Don't call me a liar. Don't call me a liar. And so the doctor that said Google it, he moved on. He got his residency training done at the VA for free, and he went up to Washington State. So the man filling in for him is what's called the attending. It's a senior guy from University of California, Irvine, that keeps an eye on all the little minions. And he was filling in till they got another newbie. And I said, hey, I don't want a newbie. Do you have any patients? And he said, no, I keep an eye on these patients, these young guys here. And I said, well, I'm your patient. So that's what I tell the vet. Ask for the attending and tell the attending, I want to be your patient. Okay, because you're in charge of those little guys, but you're the database of knowledge. And we had a great relationship for 5 years. I was watching weight, they call it, for 5 years. It's a slow growing cancer thing. And so you have time to make decisions and how you're going to handle it. Because as you will learn if you ever go to our website, the cllsociety.org, at the top level, we all have CLL. Go down one level, and each one of us is different. Our treatment's different. How it manifests within our body's different. And so we're the same at the title, but below it, we're individually treated. And it takes specialists guys hematologists, blood doctors who focus on that, understand what's going on in your bloodstream, because we don't have tumors. It's in our blood. It's in our bone
Right.
marrow. And your bone marrow is your factory of life, and it will block the bone marrow, and you're dead.
Ah, man.
And
it's so true. It just gets in there.
Yeah, it does. And here's the thing, and I would pass on to the veterans. The second part is, if you come to the CLL Society, we purposely designed it to be at no cost to you. We do all the work. We do all the fact finding. We constantly update. We put on lectures and webinars. We go visit people and educate them. The only thing that costs the patient is their discretionary time. It's your time. Just put it here, and we're always updating it. And it's so far beyond what you can find on the website. Dr. Google doesn't exist anymore. Come to us.
Man, I've been told, don't do the Dr. Google thing. It just takes you down the worst rabbit hole, because you never cleared your cookies and cache on your computer in the first place.
Right.
So it's going to pull up everything that you're used to looking for.
Yeah.
And it's going to, you talk to the health professional.